Ladies and gentlemen, listen closely because this moment could change everything for you. There will be days when the weight feels unbearable, when your dreams seem out of reach, and quitting feels like the easiest way out. But hear me when I say this weight, don't quit. You see, the road to success isn't paved with ease or convenience. It's carved through adversity, challenge, and the sheer will to keep going when everything in you screams to stop. There's something powerful about persistence. It's the fuel that turns dreams into reality. But too often, people give up right before their breakthrough. They quit just one step away from the finish line. You can't let that be you. Ladies and gentlemen, listen closely because this moment could change everything for you. There will be days when the weight feels unbearable, when your dreams seem out of reach and quitting feels like the easiest way out. But hear me when I say this weight. Don't quit. The road to success isn't paved with ease or convenience. It's carved through adversity, challenge, and the sheer will to keep going when everything in you screams to stop. There's something powerful about persistence. It's the fuel that turns dreams into reality. But too often, people give up right before their breakthrough. They quit just one step away from the finish line. You can't let that be you. Life has a way of testing us, challenging us in ways that we never expect and pushing us beyond our limits. But if we take a step back and truly understand the nature of these challenges, we'll see that they aren't just obstacles, they are opportunities for growth. We often view hardships as roadblocks, as things that stand in our way. But the truth is that they are shaping us in ways we might not fully appreciate in the moment. They are the crucible that forges our character, sharpens our skills, and prepares us for what's ahead. The idea that adversity shapes us is not just some motivational phrase, it's a fundamental truth of the human experience. Every challenge you face, every setback, and every failure is a chance to evolve, to grow stronger, and to become the person you are destined to be. Consider the process of forging metal. When a blacksmith works with raw metal, it isn't a simple process. The metal must be heated, hammered, and shaped repeatedly. If the metal is treated too gently, it remains brittle and weak, unable to withstand the pressure of the world. But when subjected to intense heat and force, it becomes something far more valuable, a durable, sharp, and unyielding tool. In many ways, we are the metal and our challenges are the hammer and fire. Without the heat and the pressure, we would remain malleable, unable to take on the shape that life requires of us. I think about the times in your life when you faced adversity. Maybe it was a financial crisis, a personal loss, a health scare, or a failure in your career. Whatever it was, you likely didn't feel strong or powerful in those moments. Instead, you probably felt overwhelmed, lost, or defeated. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that these challenges are personal attacks or that they are signs that we're not good enough. But when you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, you realize that these very challenges are what helped you build the resilience, wisdom, and strength you now possess. They didn't break you, they made you. There's a saying that goes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. While this phrase can sound overly simplistic, it captures an undeniable truth. When you face hardship, your capacity for endurance expands. You learn how to deal with pain, frustration, and disappointment, and you begin to understand that these feelings, while uncomfortable, are not permanent. The pain you experience in the moment is not a reflection of your worth. Rather, it is the process of transformation. Just like muscles that become stronger after being torn down and rebuilt, your character becomes more resilient when it is tested and refined by adversity. Let's take a closer look at how adversity shapes us. Every time you face a difficult situation, you are forced to confront parts of yourself that you may have ignored or underestimated. You discover things about your inner strength that you never knew existed. When you're pushed to your limits, you realize how capable you truly are. You learn to dig deeper, to summon strength you didn't think you had, and to keep moving forward, even when every part of you wants to quit. Adversity teaches us valuable life lessons. It shows us what truly matters. When everything is stripped away and you're left with nothing but your will to survive, you begin to understand what you're made of. You learn who your true friends are, what your values really are, and what you're willing to fight for. Adversity forces us to prioritize, to distinguish between what is truly important and what is not. It reveals the cracks in our armor, but it also gives us the chance to heal and grow stronger than before. We become so focused on the end result that we forget the process. We dream of success, but success rarely comes without a fair share of hardship. The journey to success is often a winding road full of detours and bumps along the way. In fact, the journey itself is often more important than the destination. It's during the toughest times that we discover our true capacity for growth. When you're knocked down, the most important thing is not how hard you fall, but how you get back up. It's the getting up, the resilience, the willingness to push forward when it seems impossible that defines who you are. Think about someone who has achieved great success in their life. Whether it's an athlete, a business person, an artist, or anyone who has reached the top of their field, their success did not come without struggle. They faced rejection, failure, disappointment, and countless setbacks. But each one of those moments of adversity shaped them, refined their skills, and made them stronger. They didn't let their failures define them. Instead, they used them as stepping stones to propel themselves forward. This is the beauty of adversity. It doesn't just test you, it transforms you. You don't come out of difficult situations the same person who went in. You come out stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling whatever comes next. You may not see the purpose of the struggle in the moment, but over time, the lessons learned, the strength gained, and the growth achieved become clear. We can all look back at the most difficult moments of our lives and see how they've shaped us. The lessons we've learned, the strengths we've developed, and the courage we've built are all products of the challenges we've faced. It's in these moments that we are truly tested, and it's in these moments that we discover what we're really made of. So the next time you face a challenge, instead of seeing it as something to avoid or fear, remember that it's an opportunity to grow. Embrace it, learn from it, and let it shape you into the person you're meant to become. Ladies and gentlemen, listen closely because this moment could change everything for you. There will be days when the weight feels unbearable, when your dreams seem out of reach, and quitting feels like the easiest way out. But hear me when I say this, wait. Don't quit. You see, the road to success isn't paved with ease or convenience. It's carved through adversity, challenge, and the sheer will to keep going when everything in you screams to stop. There's something powerful about persistence. It's the fuel that turns dreams into reality. But too often, people give up right before their breakthrough. They quit just one step away from the finish line. You can't let that be you. Ladies and gentlemen, listen closely because this moment could change everything for you. There will be days when the weight feels unbearable, when your dreams seem out of reach, and quitting feels like the easiest way out. But hear me when I say this, wait. Don't quit. The road to success isn't paved with ease or convenience. It's carved through adversity, challenge, and the sheer will to keep going when everything in you screams to stop. There's something powerful about persistence. It's the fuel that turns dreams into reality. But too often, people give up right before their breakthrough. They quit just one step away from the finish line. You can't let that be you. Life has a way of testing us, challenging us in ways that we never expect, and pushing us beyond our limits. But if we take a step back and truly understand the nature of these challenges, we'll see that they aren't just obstacles, they are opportunities for growth. We often view hardships as roadblocks, as things that stand in our way, but the truth is that they are shaping us in ways we might not fully appreciate in the moment. They are the crucible that forges our character, sharpens our skills, and prepares us for what's ahead. The idea that adversity shapes us is not just some motivational phrase, it's a fundamental truth of the human experience. Every challenge you face, every setback, and every failure is a chance to evolve, to grow stronger, and to become the person you are destined to be. Consider the process of forging metal. When a blacksmith works with raw metal, it isn't a simple process. The metal must be heated, hammered, and shaped repeatedly. If the metal is treated too gently, it remains brittle and weak, unable to withstand the pressure of the world. But when subjected to intense heat and force, it becomes something far more valuable, a durable, sharp, and unyielding tool. In many ways, we are the metal, and our challenges are the hammer and fire. Without the heat and the pressure, we would remain malleable, unable to take on the shape that life requires of us. Think about the times in your life when you faced adversity. Maybe it was a financial crisis, a personal loss, a health scare, or a failure in your career. Whatever it was, you likely didn't feel strong or powerful in those moments. Instead, you probably felt overwhelmed, lost, or defeated. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that these challenges are personal attacks or that they are signs that we're not good enough. But when you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, you realize that these very challenges are what helped you build the resilience, wisdom, and strength you now possess. They didn't break you, they made you. There's a saying that goes, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. While this phrase can sound overly simplistic, it captures an undeniable truth. When you face hardship, your capacity for endurance expands. You learn how to deal with pain, frustration, and disappointment, and you begin to understand that these feelings, while uncomfortable, are not permanent. The pain you experience in the moment is not a reflection of your worth, rather, it is the process of transformation. Just like muscles that become stronger after being torn down and rebuilt, your character becomes more resilient when it is tested and refined by adversity. Let's take a closer look at how adversity shapes us. Every time you face a difficult situation, you are forced to confront parts of yourself that you may have ignored or underestimated. You discover things about your inner strength that you never knew existed. When you're pushed to your limits, you realize how capable you truly are. You learn to dig deeper, to summon strength you didn't think you had, and to keep moving forward, even when every part of you wants to quit. Adversity teaches us valuable life lessons. It shows us what truly matters. When everything is stripped away and you're left with nothing but your will to survive, you begin to understand what you're made of. You learn who your true friends are, what your values really are, and what you're willing to fight for. Adversity forces us to prioritize, to distinguish between what is truly important and what is not. It reveals the cracks in our armor, but it also gives us the chance to heal and grow stronger than before. Progress, in any form, is an essential part of our journey through life. It doesn't always come in grand, sweeping moments of achievement. More often, it arrives in small, incremental steps. Too often, we can become fixated on the big picture, the final goal, and we forget that the path towards success is built piece by piece. We get caught up in the desire for immediate results, for fast success, and for instant gratification. But the truth is, real progress is rarely fast. It's about the consistent effort, the small victories, and the patience to keep moving forward, even when the results aren't immediately visible. This is where the real value lies, not in the end result, but in the journey of growth itself. The idea of progress being slow or incremental can be frustrating. We live in a world that values speed and efficiency, where success stories are often presented as though they happened overnight. But the reality is that true progress takes time, effort, and persistence. The small steps we take today, no matter how insignificant they may seem, are the foundation for something bigger tomorrow. It's easy to get discouraged when we don't see immediate change or results. We often feel like we're working hard without getting anywhere. But in reality, every small effort, every action is a step forward. The progress may be hard to see in the moment, but over time, the cumulative effect of those small steps becomes clear. Consider the growth of a tree. At first, there's nothing but a small seed buried in the ground. For months, even years, it may appear that nothing is happening. The seed is beneath the surface, quietly absorbing nutrients and preparing for the day it will break through. But even though it seems like nothing is happening, the tree is growing. It's slowly developing its roots, strengthening itself in ways that are invisible to the eye. Only after a period of time does the tree begin to grow visibly, stretching its branches toward the sky. Similarly, our progress may not always be visible right away, but every small action, every moment of effort is building the foundation for something greater. This concept of slow and steady progress is vital to understand. We often hear the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day, and yet we often expect our own achievements to be built just as quickly. The reality is, things of lasting value take time to develop. Whether it's a skill, a career, a relationship, or even personal growth, the process of becoming better is not something that happens instantly. It's a gradual process of learning, adapting, and improving, even when the results don't show up immediately. Just because you can't see the change doesn't mean it's not happening. Every effort you make is contributing to your progress, even if the results aren't obvious in the moment. It's important to remember that progress isn't linear. There will be days when you feel like you've taken 2 steps forward and 1 step back. There will be setbacks and challenges that make it seem like you're not getting anywhere. These moments can be discouraging, but they don't mean that you're not making progress. They simply mean that the path isn't always straight, and sometimes we need to go through a few detours before we can reach our destination. The setbacks we face are not signs of failure, they're simply part of the process. In fact, overcoming those setbacks is often where the most growth occurs. It's in those moments when we feel like giving up that we can learn the most about ourselves and our ability to persevere. As humans, we often measure progress by the visible results, the accomplishments, the awards, the recognition. But true progress goes beyond these external markers. Real progress is about the internal growth that happens when you push through the difficult moments, the times when you want to quit but choose to keep going anyway. It's about the development of your character, your resilience, and your ability to handle adversity. These qualities may not always be visible to others, but they are crucial in shaping who you become in the long run. The progress you make in your mindset, your emotional strength, and your determination is just as valuable, if not more so, than the tangible results you achieve. Sometimes we get discouraged because we feel like we're not moving fast enough. We see others around us succeeding, and we start to compare their progress to our own. But comparison is one of the biggest obstacles to real progress. Everyone's journey is different. And just because someone else seems to be moving faster doesn't mean that you're behind. Progress is personal. It's about moving forward at your own pace, according to your own timeline. Trying to rush your progress or compare your journey to someone else's will only lead to frustration. Instead, focus on your own growth, on the small steps you're taking every day to become better, and trust that the results will come in time. It's also important to acknowledge that progress isn't always about achieving big goals or reaching major milestones. Sometimes progress is simply about showing up, putting in the effort, and continuing to move forward even when the goal seems far away. Every time you push through a challenging day, every time you make the decision to keep going, you are making progress. Even when it feels like you're not accomplishing anything monumental, you are building the momentum that will carry you through to the next stage of your journey. Real progress is about the accumulation of small victories. Each time you learn something new, each time you improve, no matter how slightly, you are moving closer to your goal. These small victories may not seem significant on their own, but when you look back after a period of time, you'll realize that they have added up to something much greater. The key is to stay committed to the process, to continue making progress, even when the results aren't immediately clear. The journey itself is a series of small steps, and those steps, when taken consistently over time, will lead to something far greater than you could have imagined. Remember, every step forward is progress. No matter how small it may seem, every effort you make brings you closer to the person you're becoming and the goals you want to achieve. Don't get discouraged by the lack of immediate results or the setbacks along the way. Embrace the journey, trust the process, and know that progress is being made, even when it doesn't feel like it. The key is to keep moving forward, one small step at a time. Life's challenges, though daunting, are rarely permanent. They may feel overwhelming in the moment, and it might seem as if the weight of the world is pressing down on you, but like the storms that pass over the earth, the struggles we face will eventually subside. This doesn't mean the storms are not powerful or that they don't impact us. The emotional, mental, or even physical toll that difficulties take on us can be significant, but in every case, the storm does not last forever. There comes a time when the clouds part, the winds die down, and the sun begins to shine again. Understanding this truth is vital because it's often in the darkest moments that we lose sight of the light ahead. But it's important to remember this too shall pass. The temporary nature of hardship can be hard to grasp in the heat of the moment. When you're in the midst of a challenge, it often feels like it will never end. You may feel stuck, as though the struggle is endless, and wonder if there's any relief in sight. But hardship, just like the weather changes, no matter how intense the storm is, it will eventually lose its strength. This is an essential lesson to internalize the current situation you're facing is not the final destination. It's simply a part of the process. Think about the storms in nature. They can be violent, unpredictable, and terrifying. They cause damage and disrupt life. But as intense as they may be, they do not remain forever. They pass, and after they do, the landscape often looks different, sometimes even better. The rain nourishes the earth, the winds clear away debris, and new growth emerges. Similarly, the challenges we face often bring about changes in us, some of which we don't notice in the midst of the storm, but are evident once the struggle is over. When we look back, we can see how far we've come, how much stronger we become, and how the adversity has helped us grow. The temporary nature of storms in life doesn't minimize their impact, but it offers hope. No storm, no matter how fierce, is infinite. Understanding this can help shift your perspective in difficult times. Instead of being consumed by despair, try to adopt a mindset of endurance. Remind yourself that while the current situation may be difficult, it's not forever. You are capable of weathering the storm, and as long as you continue to move forward, you will eventually emerge stronger on the other side. Another important aspect of recognizing that storms don't last forever is the opportunity it provides for reflection. When things are tough, it's natural to focus on survival. You're doing everything you can to get through the storm, and your energy is directed toward making it to the other side. But once the storm has passed and the skies begin to clear, there is space for reflection. You can look back on the struggle and recognize the lessons learned, the inner strength you tapped into, and the growth that occurred. It's only after a storm that you can fully appreciate the beauty of calmness that follows. And similarly, only after facing adversity can you understand the depth of your own resilience. This understanding of life's impermanence is not just about surviving the storm, but about thriving despite it. Life is not always about avoiding pain or hardship. It's about learning to live through it, to find meaning and purpose even in the most difficult times. The belief that hardship is temporary encourages us to press forward when things feel at their worst. It reminds us that the struggles of today will not define our future. When we embrace this truth, we begin to approach challenges differently. Instead of fearing the storm, we face it head-on with the knowledge that it will pass. We understand that we don't have to be perfect or immune to suffering to succeed. We just have to keep moving forward, step by step, knowing that better days are ahead. One way to help manage the feeling that challenges are never ending is to break them down into manageable parts. Just as a storm might rage for hours but eventually passes, life's difficulties can often feel like they are happening in waves. One day can feel like an eternity. But when we take things one step at a time, we realize that we're not dealing with the entirety of the challenge at once. We don't have to solve everything in a single moment. We can face today's challenges today and know that tomorrow brings new opportunities. The awareness that struggles are temporary allows us to take things day by day, understanding that each small step we take toward resolution brings us closer to the calm after the storm. During these tough times, it's essential to lean into the support systems that are available to us. When the storm is raging, it's easy to isolate ourselves, to feel like we are alone in our struggles. But the reality is, everyone faces storms in their own way, and reaching out for support can make a significant difference. Whether it's friends, family, or professional support, connecting with others can provide the encouragement and perspective needed to keep going. Support systems act as reminders that you're not alone, and that the storm you're weathering is part of a larger human experience. Knowing that others have been through similar struggles and have made it through can provide the hope and motivation to continue. In times of hardship, hope is often the most powerful tool we have. Hope reminds us that things will get better, that the storm won't last forever, and that we have the power to endure. When we keep hope alive, we find the strength to keep moving forward, even when the journey is tough. Hope doesn't erase the pain or the struggle, but it allows us to see beyond it, to hold on to the belief that better days are ahead. Sometimes storms are necessary. They test our resilience, refine our character, and push us to grow in ways we never thought possible. They bring about change, often forcing us to evolve, to adapt, and to become stronger versions of ourselves. The storm may be fierce, but it is not in vain. It is shaping us, teaching us, and preparing us for what is yet to come. So when the storms of life hit, remember this: they do not last forever. You have the power to endure, to overcome, and to emerge on the other side with newfound strength, wisdom, and grace. The sun will shine again. When we face hardships, it's natural to feel lost or overwhelmed. But one of the greatest strengths we can develop is the ability to stay committed to the process, even when the end goal seems distant or unclear. We often think of success as something that happens at the end of a journey after we've put in all the work, after we've faced all the obstacles, after we've overcome every challenge. But the truth is, success is built on the process, not the outcome. The day-to-day efforts, the persistence through difficult times, and the small wins along the way are what truly define success. Staying committed to the process is about having the discipline to show up every day, even when things aren't easy. There will be days when you don't feel like working, when you feel like quitting, or when you doubt that all of your efforts are amounting to anything. On those days, it's crucial to remember that success is the sum of all those small, consistent actions. It's the little choices we make every day that eventually build the life we want to live. While we often look at success in terms of milestones or major accomplishments, the reality is that these moments of success are the result of countless hours of effort that may never be seen by others. The idea of staying committed to the process is a reminder that the journey itself is just as valuable, if not more so, than the destination. So much of life is about the experiences we gain and the lessons we learn along the way. It's easy to become fixated on the outcome, the end result we're striving for, but true growth happens when we embrace the journey with all of its challenges and setbacks. Success is not just about reaching a particular goal, but about how we handle the struggles and how we push ourselves to keep going, even when things seem uncertain. Consider someone who is training for a marathon. They don't wake up one day and run 26 miles without a process behind it. They start by running shorter distances, gradually building their endurance. Along the way, they may face fatigue, discomfort, and setbacks. Some days will be harder than others, but the key to reaching the finish line is not just about that one final day of running, it's about every step taken leading up to it. The commitment to the process of training, to showing up day after day, to putting in the work, is what ultimately leads to the success of completing the marathon. This same commitment is required in all areas of life, whether you're building a career, pursuing a dream, or working on personal growth. When you focus on the process, you begin to value the work itself, not just the reward. This mindset shift is essential because it helps you stay motivated even when the results aren't immediately visible. When we are only focused on the outcome, it can feel discouraging when progress is slow. But when we value the process, we find meaning in the daily actions, even when the results are not as quick or dramatic as we might like them to be. This doesn't mean that we should ignore the end goal. Rather, it means that we recognize the importance of the steps that will get us there. Each moment of effort, no matter how small, is an essential part of the larger picture. Another benefit of staying committed to the process is that it allows us to grow and adapt. The journey is not static. It requires us to evolve and adjust as we move forward. The challenges we face along the way provide opportunities to learn, to refine our strategies, and to improve our skills. There are many things we can learn in the process that we wouldn't gain by simply achieving the goal. It's in overcoming obstacles, adjusting our approach, and learning from mistakes that we become better equipped to handle future challenges. If we are too focused on the destination, we may miss out on these invaluable lessons. Think of any successful individual who has achieved greatness in their field. Behind every achievement, there was a process, a series of steps, failures, learning moments, and adjustments that led to success. The journey was often messy, full of uncertainty, and sometimes even painful. But those who succeeded were able to stay committed to the process, even when things weren't going according to plan. They understood that success wasn't a linear path. It was a winding road with unexpected twists and turns, and yet their dedication to the process helped them navigate those challenges and ultimately reach their destination. This is where patience comes in. Staying committed to the process requires patience because results often don't come as quickly as we'd like. The work may feel slow, the progress may seem invisible, and the payoff may seem distant. But just like a seed growing into a tree, the changes that matter often happen beneath the surface before they become visible. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results, but true growth is happening in the background. Success requires time. The key is to keep showing up, to keep doing the work, and to trust that the process will eventually bear fruit. With time, you'll look back and see how far you've come, how much you've grown, and how much your efforts have paid off. Staying committed to the process also means understanding that there will be setbacks and failures along the way. No one achieves success without encountering challenges. Failure is an inevitable part of the process, but it's also one of the most valuable parts. Failure teaches us things that success cannot. It shows us what doesn't work, helps us refine our approach, and ultimately makes us more resilient. Those who stay committed to the process understand that failure is not a reason to quit, it's simply another step on the journey. Every failure is a lesson that brings you closer to success. When you embrace the process, you also begin to realize that success is not just a destination, but a way of life. It's about developing habits of excellence, perseverance, and determination. It's about putting in the effort each day and knowing that each action, no matter how small, is contributing to your growth. As you continue to commit to the process, you develop a sense of pride in the work itself. You begin to enjoy the journey, knowing that it is through the process that you become the person you were meant to be. The goal may be important, but it's the process that shapes you into someone capable of achieving it. In the end, staying committed to the process means that you are willing to trust in the journey, to remain patient, and to keep working, even when the outcome seems far away. It's about focusing on the daily efforts, learning from each experience, and believing that every step you take brings you closer to your goal. Through persistence, patience, and dedication, success will come, not as a sudden event, but as the culmination of everything you've done along the way. The process is where the magic happens, and it's the process that will ultimately lead to your success. One of the most important truths in life is that the journey towards success is not defined by how fast we move, but by how we respond to the setbacks and challenges that inevitably arise. Life is full of obstacles, and the reality is that everyone will face difficulties at some point. Whether it's a personal crisis, a professional roadblock, or an unexpected turn of events, these challenges are part of the human experience. The key to moving through them isn't about avoiding hardship, but about learning to navigate it with resilience, determination, and grace. The way we respond to adversity shapes our journey more than the adversity itself. When we face challenges, the initial reaction is often one of frustration, doubt, and discouragement. We may feel overwhelmed by the weight of the situation, and in those moments, it can be difficult to see how we can move forward. However, adversity is not the end of the road, it's merely a part of the process. It is through overcoming obstacles that we learn and grow. And it's in these moments that our true character is tested. The ability to stay focused and calm in the face of difficulty is what sets those who succeed apart from those who give up. The first step in learning how to navigate challenges is to recognize that setbacks are inevitable. Life doesn't always unfold according to our plans, and there will be times when things don't go the way we expect. Understanding this truth allows us to approach challenges with a sense of acceptance rather than resistance. When we accept that difficulties are a natural part of the journey, we stop fighting against them and instead focus on how we can overcome them. It's about shifting our mindset from one of victimhood to one of empowerment. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me, we ask, how can I get through this? This shift in perspective allows us to approach problems with a solutions-oriented mindset rather than getting stuck in the negative emotions they can provoke. Another crucial element of navigating challenges is patience. When we face difficulties, it's easy to want a quick fix, a way out that will allow us to return to our normal lives as soon as possible. However, some obstacles cannot be overcome quickly. They require time, effort, and sometimes a change in approach. The key to handling these challenges is to stay patient and persistent. Instead of rushing through the process, take the time to assess the situation, understand the root cause of the problem, and determine the most effective way to move forward. Patience allows us to stay calm and focused, helping us to make better decisions and to avoid reacting impulsively out of frustration or fear. During tough times, it's also important to maintain a sense of perspective. Challenges often seem much bigger when we are in the middle of them. The pressure and stress can cloud our judgment, making it difficult to see beyond the immediate situation. But if we can step back and view the problem from a broader perspective, we begin to realize that most difficulties are temporary. What may seem like an insurmountable obstacle today could very well become a distant memory tomorrow. Keeping this perspective in mind helps us avoid getting consumed by the problem. It reminds us that we have the ability to overcome it, even if the road is difficult. Looking at the bigger picture helps us stay focused on the long-term goals rather than getting caught up in the short-term setbacks. Additionally, it's crucial to remember that challenges are opportunities in disguise. While it's easy to view adversity as something to be avoided, the truth is that it often holds valuable lessons. It's in facing challenges head-on that we develop the skills, resilience, and strength we need to succeed in the future. Each obstacle we overcome adds to our experience and equips us with the knowledge necessary to handle the next challenge that comes our way. Rather than dreading difficult situations, we can learn to embrace them, knowing that they are helping us grow. It's in the struggle that we find our greatest growth, and those who are able to find meaning in their challenges are the ones who ultimately succeed. There is also power in reaching out for help when we need it. Too often we try to handle everything on our own, believing that asking for help is a sign of weakness. But the reality is that everyone faces challenges, and there's no shame in seeking support from others. Whether it's family, friends, mentors, or colleagues, having a support system in place can make all the difference. Sometimes a fresh perspective or a helping hand is exactly what we need to find a solution to a problem. Reaching out allows us to gain insights we might have missed on our own, and it reminds us that we don't have to face everything alone. Collaboration and support are vital parts of navigating challenges successfully. Another vital element in overcoming challenges is self-compassion. During tough times, we often become our own harshest critics. We may beat ourselves up for not having all the answers or for not handling the situation better. However, self-criticism only adds to the stress and can prevent us from moving forward. Instead, it's important to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a friend going through a tough time. Acknowledge that you are doing your best and that it's okay to not have all the answers right away. Self-compassion helps us maintain our mental and emotional health during challenging times, which in turn allows us to think more clearly and make better decisions. Above all, navigating challenges requires a deep sense of resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, to remain strong in the face of difficulty, and to keep moving forward despite setbacks. It's not about avoiding failure or hardship, but about being able to rise after falling. Resilience is built over time through the accumulation of experiences, both good and bad. The more challenges we face, the more resilient we become, and the better equipped we are to handle future obstacles. Resilience doesn't mean we won't experience pain or struggle. It means we have the inner strength to persevere, to adapt, and to keep pushing forward even when the path ahead is uncertain. In the end, how we respond to adversity determines our success. Life is not about avoiding difficulties, but about learning to handle them with grace, patience, and perseverance. Challenges are an inevitable part of the journey, but they don't define us. It is our response to those challenges that shapes who we are and determines how far we will go. With the right mindset, a willingness to learn, and the resilience to keep going, we can overcome any obstacle and continue moving toward the success we desire. In life, challenges are inevitable, but how we respond to them defines our success. By staying patient, seeking support, and embracing growth through adversity, we build resilience and strength. It's not the obstacles that shape us, but our ability to navigate through them with persistence and a positive mindset. Keep pushing forward and remember, every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger and move closer to your goals.